Hi there, and welcome to A Mid-B Covers HoT, Episode 2. I'm your host, the Mid-B, and today we're covering Episode 2 of House of the Dragon. That's the HoT, and it's okay that I say that because George R.R. Martin said it. Episode 2 of House of the Dragon opens 6 months in the future, depicting absolute naval carnage at the Stepstones, where the crabs are getting their life eaten for days, thanks to the crab feeder. He annihilated 4 ships, one of which was flying Lord Corlys's banner. That's not good. This is the work of the notorious pirate known as Crab Feeder. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of a shitty on-the-nose name for a pirate until you see how those crabs eat. Do you know what I mean? At the next small council meeting, Lord Corlys demands that King Viserys permit him to seize the Stepstones back by force, which is like kind of a funny sentence. He's like, always demanding permission, this guy. Such a pro. Viserys declines, asserting that he's not prepared to go to war with the free cities. And the Hand of the King, Sir Otto, agrees, offering Lord Corlys material compensation for his losses. The small council further warns against war with the free cities, which has never been seen. But Lord Corlys won't hear of anything short of military force. He wants justice. We also learn through Lord Corlys that Daemon has seized control of Dragonstone. He's held it for 6 months since Princess Rhaenyra's ascension. Sir Otto warns Lord Corlys that just because he has a seat at the king's table does not make him the king's equal, implying that Lord Corlys should watch his tongue. Corlys smiles gently and starts to step up on Sir Otto, implying that Sir Otto is about to get his ass beaten in. But Viserys interjects. He's already reached out to Pentos and Volantis in the hopes of finding common cause against the free cities. He says that this will take time, only to be interrupted by Rhaenyra, who reminds him that they have dragon riders. Dad, we have dragon riders. They have dragon riders. Why not ride the freaking dragons, right? I mean, like, we're all thinking, why not ride the freaking dragons? Send the dragon riders. Lord Corlys congratulates the princess on having a plan where the king does not. Otto condescends to her, and then everyone just dismisses her to go choose a knight to fill an opening in the king's guard. Sir Harold and Sir Otto attend to this procession of knights with the princess, offering little bits of politicking advice and la-di-da, so that Rhaenyra doesn't make like a total ass of herself. But Rhaenyra's pretty good at that. Rhaenyra notices that Rhaenys, Viserys' cousin, who was passed over for the Iron Throne, is watching her from above. The knights are all pretty pathetic, and Rhaenyra rightfully roasts them for never having seen combat, with the exception of Sir Criston Cole. Of course, Sir Otto objects to this, pointing out many more politically advantageous assignments that could be made, but Princess Rhaenyra is steadfast and counters like, hey, Sir Otto, why don't you want the king to be protected by someone that knows combat? Suspicious. Can't argue with that. So Princess Rhaenyra chooses Sir Criston Cole, the Dornish man who beat Daemon's ass last episode. We pivot then to King Viserys, continuing to be weird with Lady Alicent. They're as sweet to each other as the situation allows. He tells Lady Alicent some history of the Blood Mages in Old Valyria, while Viserys laments that the glory of Old Valyria may never be seen again, its doom yet may be. King Viserys asks Lady Alicent for advice involving Princess Rhaenyra, a teenage girl he rightly fears. Alicent encourages King Viserys to just open up about the loss of Queen Aemma 6 months prior. They haven't had a proper conversation about it. King Viserys, at the mention of Rhaenyra, realizes that what they're doing is kind of weird, and just make sure to mention again that Lady Alicent shouldn't mention these talks to Rhaenyra. She doesn't, right? And she's like, no, but like, come on, don't remind her, you know? Awkward. Rhaenyra and Alicent then take a little walk together to their place of worship, and we see their dynamic has changed some since we last checked in. They aren't the carefree girls whipping around the castle on one another's arm anymore. And gone are Alicent's bright blue colors. She's shrouded in dark blues, in darkness, and she speaks more solemnly than we've ever seen her do before. Rhaenyra is distracted, resentful of her father's aloofness in the wake of her mother's death, and also concerned about her own place within the castle as competing political forces vie for her father's hand in marriage. Lady Alicent looks at Rhaenyra with a long, drawn face, and she says that Rhaenyra shouldn't worry herself with the matters of kings and small councils. She assures Rhaenyra that King Viserys does love her, and she says this firmly because she knows it. She knows Viserys loves Rhaenyra because Viserys told Lady Alicent. So Lady Alicent is able to say this to Rhaenyra, that Viserys loves her confidently. Alicent encourages Rhaenyra to speak to her father. Alicent encourages Rhaenyra and walks her through the steps of praying in silence to her late mother. It's so interesting to see young Alicent deftly comfort both King Viserys and King Viserys' daughter, her friend. With her very unique perspective, she's basically the only person that can encourage them to talk to one another. So, honestly, she's a pretty good stepmom. Viserys meets with Lord Corlys and Lady Rhaenys. They make amends over this contentious small council meeting we were privy to earlier, and Lord Corlys expresses concerns that with the stepstones being overrun and a girl named heir to the throne, that Westeros is looking weak and ripe for the taking. Viserys is doubtful that the only way to project strength is through open warfare, but Lord Corlys counters that you can either sail into the heart of the storm or you can sail around a storm, but you can never wait for a storm to come to you. So other than open warfare at the Stepstones, King Viserys asks what Rhaenys and Corlys would suggest. And what they suggest is that King Viserys marry their daughter Laena Velaryon. In doing so, King Viserys would unite the last great Valyrian houses. They truly could not ask for a stronger match, uniting Lord Corlys's fleet of ships with King Viserys' dragon riders. This would not only project strength, but the idea that the best days of the Targaryen dynasty are ahead and not behind them. We then visit with King Viserys and Rhaenyra at a solemn dinner, where Princess Rhaenyra laments that she and her father have not spoken much since Queen Emma's passing. When Rhaenyra tries to break down the events of the small council meeting, however, King Viserys forcefully shuts her down and insists that she'll get the hang of politicking. This is clearly not the answer Rhaenyra is looking for, but it's unclear whether King Viserys is just brute forcing her anxieties away in his own mind, or if he really just does not want to further involve her in more small council stuff. It seems a little counterproductive to try to exclude the future heir if you're trying to project an image of strength to the realm, right? Another wound King Viserys sustained while sitting on the Iron Throne is being treated by maggots when Sir Otto pays the king a visit. Viserys confides in Sir Otto regarding Lord Corlys' marriage proposal to his daughter Laena. King Viserys asks his hand for Sir Otto's opinion on the matter. At first, Sir Otto says that Laena is just too young, but the Grand Maester Mello counters that this gesture alone could go a great way in healing the divide between the last two great Valyrian houses, as well as project unity to the rest of the realm. Sir Otto is so annoyed by this because, yeah, the logic is sound. The Grand Maester is all business and dismisses the king's concerns over the potential hurt feelings that Rhaenyra might have about replacing her mother, silly girl stuff. This is obviously not the answer Viserys wants. He wants an out. So Sir Otto sees this and plays the sentimental card. Whereas last episode, Sir Otto was loudly proclaiming the need for King Viserys to marry and quickly, now he's singing a different tune. He says that he does not envy the king's position and that he would greatly resent being pushed to marry before he felt adequately ready, as he loved his lady wife. Doesn't King Viserys? Then King Viserys and Lady Laena have a terribly uncomfortable walk where we have to pretend that they are not uncle and niece. She just is asking these childish, adorable questions about dragons because she's an adorable child. It's really painful. It's very painful to watch. She asks after Vhagar, a great dragon who went missing and whose song is said to be heard from Spice Town. She says it's a sad song, and King Viserys says that, well, he imagines even dragons get lonely from time to time. Aww. And Laena stops to perform this little speech that her parents prepared about strengthening the realm, and it's weird, and I hate it. And Rhaenyra is watching, and she's caught spying by who else but Rhaenys, who is obviously chaperoning her child with this grown man, thankfully. But yeah, so Rhaenys says that, oh, you look a little bothered. And Rhaenyra's like, no, you're bothered. That's your daughter, aren't you bothered? And she's like, Rhaenys is like, yeah, of course I'm freaking bothered, dude. Oh, I just spit. Of course I'm freaking bothered, dude. That's my daughter. But I know the order of things, Rhaenyra. This is Rhaenys to Rhaenyra. I know the order of things, Rhaenyra. And the order of things is something that you don't understand. Oh, and you know what? She's kind of right. I mean, I think Rhaenyra understands it. I think she just doesn't want to get it. I think she gets it, but she doesn't want to get it. Anyway. Rhaenyra accuses Rhaenys of trying to incite her, but Rhaenys is like, no, girl, I'm just trying to help you out because sooner or later, you're going to have to get with the order of things. And Rhaenyra is a little bitter and she goes for the jugular and she's like, well, actually, they didn't want to see you on the throne. Rhaenys. They bent the knee to me. Rhaenys is like, look, the men of Westeros would sooner torch the entire project to the ground, okay, rather than see a woman take the Iron Throne. Rhaenyra's father is no fool. He knows this. Sooner rather than later, he's going to get married, and more likely than not, that marriage will produce a male heir. And that male heir will be the heir the Lords of Westeros want to supersede Rhaenyra's claim. The first time we see, like, Rhaenyra wants this. For the first time, she says, when I am queen, I will make a new order of things. Ooh, Rhaenys is kind of like weirdly bitter here. And Rhaenyra has to poke at her for no reason. And I'm sure it's her own insecurities and stuff because she sees herself in Rhaenys. Or she should. She should see herself in Rhaenys. Lady Alicent and King Viserys discuss Lord Corlys's offer to marry Lady Lena. Alicent almost looks a little relieved. I mean, I don't know if that's just me projecting, but she's definitely not sad. Anyway, she tells King Viserys that she's sure it will be a great match and that Lady Lena will enjoy his company just as Lady Alicent has come to enjoy his company. At this, we see a couple of close-ups of Alicent's fingers, and it kind of looks like she hasn't been picking them as ferociously. They're not like bloody. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, but they look a little healed. Like, last episode, the blood around her cuticles was like very pronounced, especially when she was in the company of her father, very nervous at the tourney, and we would see her picking at her cuticles. But her nails are clean, and she's not picking in King Viserys' presence. Like, even if she's relieved that the king is getting married, she has actually enjoyed his company, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's sweet that like they have that kind of dynamic where it's not any more predatory than it has to be, you know? She gives him a small gift, a little DIY, you know, nothing big, just a little special something. It's like a stone thing from his little model that she repaired before they're interrupted by Sir Otto, her father. Awkward. Sir Otto is called the small council for an emergency meeting. King Viserys takes his leave, and Lady Alicent and her father exchange a look. At the small council meeting in question, King Viserys is informed that Prince Daemon has stolen a dragon egg from the dragon pits. Daemon leaves a note behind proclaiming that he stole the egg with the intent to give it to his child in the cradle in the tradition of Old Valyria. Just like taking a second wife is in the tradition of Old Valyria. But like, if Daemon wants to be Daemon, just, everyone has bigger problems anyway. You know what I mean, buddy? Nobody's gonna say no to you. You have a fucking dragon. And anyway, I'm sure your wife back in the Vale, remember her? I'm sure she's fine without, I'm sure she'll be fine if somebody else can take your attention for a little bit. Remember her? Remember back in the Vale, the bronze bit? The letter asserts that Lady Mysaria, his soon-to-be second wife, is already with child, which is bad news for Lady Mysaria. The small council says that this proclamation is nothing short of straight sedition, but Viserys counters that this is exactly what his brother wants to happen. He wants to incite Viserys to act. But this isn't a petty private familial matter, and it's like, it involves other people, and Corlys reminds Viserys that the realm is watching. Like, just letting his brother do whatever the fuck he wants at Viserys' expense is not an awesome look. Viserys is at a loss. Like, what is he supposed to do? Start a war with his brother so he could send him to the wall? Rhaenyra then has a thought, and she asks which egg had been taken. They come to understand that the egg that was taken was the one that Princess Rhaenyra chose for her late baby brother's cradle, Balon. And this is all that fucking King Viserys needs to proclaim, like, he's gonna go on fucking Dragonback, and he's gonna get the egg back. And yes, I'm like, yes, Viserys, fucking yes, do it! Do it! Sir Otto's right when he's like, dude, we can't risk the literal king of Westeros, especially without a male heir. Like, that's a subtext. And especially concerning King Viserys' wounds, which only you, I, and Sir Otto know about. You know what I mean? King Viserys doesn't go, even though that'd be so awesome if he did. So anyway, he's in no stage to go fighting, and honestly, like, even in the best of times, who's gonna go up against fucking Daemon? Like, I'm sorry, but like, Daemon would beat his cute tushy into pulp in a matter of seconds if he wanted to. He would, I'm sorry. King Viserys doesn't even have a dragon anymore. I didn't say. It's too dangerous, and so Sir Otto asks that King Viserys permit him to go to Dragonstone in the king's stead. I think this is a weird choice for Viserys to like actually make, because he knows that Otto and Daemon just incite each other. Like, they're just gonna take things to 100. Like, why wouldn't he send literally anyone else? I guess it's that kind of vicious sort of loyalty that like means he can depend on Sir Otto not to play any reindeer games, but he's definitely not gonna like diffuse the situation with Damon, do you know what I mean? But the next scene we see Sir Otto suiting up for the task with Alicent's help, so I'm sure King Viserys had a reason not to send Lord Corlys, you know, but I do think Lord Corlys at this juncture would have been a better choice. It would have been a gamble because of Lord Corlys's like interesting loyalties, but like still I think it would project unity and it would tell Lord Corlys that he trusts him, and especially with what happens later, like he really needs as many good points with Lord Corlys as he possibly can right now. Otto literally cannot contain himself when it comes to Prince Daemon, so I don't know who thought this was a good idea and why nobody interjects, but nobody does, so he goes. Alicent is helping him suit up for the task in the next scene. Alicent's fingers, as she helps her father suit up, are bloody again, and she refuses to answer when her father asks after why she insists on destroying herself as the most comely girl at court. Ugh. He grossly asks if Alicent will see the king tonight, which... and Alicent really grossly replies, if you wish it, because she has to. And the whole thing is giving me squick. Otto and Sir Criston Cole head to Dragonstone. It's super cute. Love what they've done with the place. Truly foreboding Dracula vibes, and I think it's a good fit for Daemon's antics. Like, he's a very theatrical person. I think he would really benefit in this space. It's, okay, I know I just said it was a bad idea, but it is also kind of a hilarious idea to send Sir Otto. Daemon is so brazenly looking for his brother's attention that it's, like, insulting that they would send Sir Otto, who he hates probably out of everyone the most. Honorable mention, Mysaria and Daemon are so fucking hot together. I know, like, I wish they were with child. And they show up in these, like, opposite monochrome fits. Sir Otto tells Daemon that the king himself would never deign to lower himself to this mummer's farce of a wedding. Honestly, I think it's really brave that Sir Otto, with that hair, would shade anyone at the gig. You know Sir Criston Cole standing right next to you, he packs a comb. Like, you know that. If we're trying to project strength and not chaos, you just, whatever. Anyway, Prince Daemon makes a big show out of calling Sir Criston Crispin. Like, he can't recall Sir Criston's name. And so Sir Criston comes back with, perhaps the prince recalled when I knocked him off his horse. And every other bitch went into hiding. Love that Daemon also seems to love this. Like, he's a little pissy about it, but you can tell he appreciates the jest. He's like, oh, very good. Like, he just enjoys the game at this point. He's having fun, you know? Daemon and Otto go back and forth. Otto insults Mysaria. Mysaria looks concerned, and everyone is just embarrassed for the both of them. Also, it turns out that Daemon's little army marching up behind him is made up of the City Watch, who followed him out of King's Landing when he hightailed it out of there. Presumably just leaving the city to rot, which is so cute. But like, I mean, sorry, but ACAB. And finally, Daemon just like holds up the egg and like, eggs on Sir Otto to take it. But like, really, he's like, go on, take it. And Sir Otto's like, obviously not gonna fall for that. He's like, dude, do you understand what you're doing right now is putting us on the cusp of war? It just does not de-escalate. Swords are drawn and a dragon shows up, right? And like, everyone is super not jazzed about this on Sir Otto's side, because I don't know if you remember this about earlier in the show, but like, it's established that only Targaryens have dragons, right? So Sir Otto's in a bit of a pickle, but oh fucking wait, it's the one true queen, bitch. Guess what? She does have a dragon. Did you forget? It's Syrax and Rhaenyra, and they don't give a flying fuck about politics, pun intended. Spit intended. Wearing the most badass tribute, by the way, I assume, to Daenerys' late stage Game of Thrones fit. So Rhaenyra saunters up to her Uncle Daemon and she lays it all out on the line. Her feelings are freaking hurt, and she's like clear that she is hurt and she is tired of the back and forth with Daemon supporting her and the not supporting her. It's a weird dynamic, and she tells him that she knows it's weird, but the only way that he can solve it and get what he wants at this juncture is to kill her. That's the only way right now he can be heir to the Iron Throne again, and honestly, she would prefer he do it. Just do it, Daemon. Do it! He won't. Of course he's not. So you can see he respects the fuck out of this move, even as it pisses him the fuck off because it means he lost, because of course he's not gonna fucking do that. But like, who they're just too alike. It's crazy. It really shows that Rhaenyra has like this decisive courage that's indicative of a great leader, of a queen. Notably, Daemon admits to Rhaenyra that Mysaria is not with child in High Valyrian, so Mysaria herself doesn't understand that he's telling the king through Rhaenyra as a proxy that there's nothing to be worried about as far as heirs go. After Mysaria storms off when she realizes she's being referenced in High Valyrian, Daemon gives Rhaenyra the egg and storms off in his own feisty theatrical little fashion. And I kind of stand the fuck out of Daemon. He just wants to be like respected. So Rhaenyra looks at Otto with the egg, and Sir Otto looks back at her. It's like an understanding is finally settled in Otto that Rhaenyra will not only be a great queen, but a tough adversary for the throne. Next we see Mysaria confront Daemon about his lies concerning their supposed marriage and her being with child. She accuses him of putting her in danger without recognizing that he has the room and the latitude to play these silly politicking games, but her life is on the line when he plays them. She's very scared and angered by the revelation that Daemon would lie about them getting married and her being with child. This puts her in an extremely precarious position, because even though no one would dare fuck with Daemon or his dragons or his namesake, Mysaria is not protected. She wants nothing more than to just chill. Daemon is like, what does that mean? And she's like, I want to be liberated from fear. She just wants to live her life without worrying for her life all the time. Putting her in a position where people think she has a treasonous pregnancy, that is the exact opposite. Viserys then goes to visit Master of Laws Lionel Strong. He tells Lord Strong that he has always felt Lord Corlys's envious eyes upon him ever since he ascended to the Iron Throne. Lord Corlys's offer to wed his daughter may just be the salve their relationship needs. Lord Strong agrees. Lord Strong also adds that not only is Lady Laena a Targaryen, she's from the wealthiest house in the realm. The match is near perfect in spite of her young age. Viserys doesn't want to remarry, and he keeps looking for an out through Lord Strong. Lord Strong, however, does not relent. He says that the throne cannot afford to make an enemy out of Lord Corlys, and King Viserys will have to remarry eventually. It's for the good of the realm. Lord Strong advises King Viserys to marry Lady Laena just as they are interrupted, and King Viserys is informed that Rhaenyra is returning from Dragonstone, which it's news to him that she was at Dragonstone. Initially, her father seems furious at her disobedience, but that fury melts into righteous fatherly concern soon enough. Rhaenyra, though, is in no mood for his hysterics. She informs her father that she retrieved the egg without bloodshed, and it's a feat that she does not believe Sir Otto could have accomplished on his own. King Viserys has to give her that one. Viserys' rotting finger is in the forefront of all of these shots as they discuss their shared grief over Queen Aemma's passing. Finally, a reminder of his own mortality. This tells Rhaenyra that though he intends to remarry, he does not intend to replace either Rhaenyra or her mother, Queen Aemma, but he must have other children. It is imperative for the security of the realm that they have a line of succession that basically has backups. Even if Rhaenyra is there, he needs some backups. What if she died at Dragonstone? You know what I mean? This is the line of thinking. And in fact, her place as the heir to the Iron Throne becomes more secure the more heirs that they make. King Viserys tells Rhaenyra desperately he does not wish to see them estranged, especially over a matter like a marriage. Rhaenyra assures him that both she and her mother understood that his duty is first to the realm and always has to be. At the next small council meeting, Viserys is deep in thought when we check in. He's a very sad, conflicted boy. Everyone is waiting on this announcement he gathered them there for, and we see that Lady Alicent, interestingly enough, is among the attendees of this small council meeting. Nobody seems really put off by that. Viserys announces that he will take a new wife, and Lord Corlys and Rhaenyra both ready themselves excitedly for this new chapter in their lives. I intend to marry. Viserys begins. He says it. He says, I intend to marry. And Alicent just can't keep still. She's like, she's jittering, and she looks at Rhaenyra. And Rhaenyra looks at her with this goofy, doe-eyed face, and then like immediately, like a millisecond before he says it, she puts it together. Oh shit. Oh my god. The Lady Alicent Hightower, Sir Otto barely contains himself. I don't know how he didn't jump out of his seat. He literally tucks his chin further, I feel like, to keep him grounded, because he is just vibrating. Lord Corlys then goes off. He is fucking pissed, but Viserys won't hear of it. And when Lord Corlys looks to Otto eating the shit out of that fucking grit, and he's like, But it's Rhaenyra. It's Rhaenyra's tears. Alicent knowing that this is a betrayal, and that's what breaks me. That's what broke me. We take a hard turn then to Driftmark, where Lord Corlys is spinning a yarn about House Valyrian lore to a person off screen. The Valyrians were not dragon lords, but Lord Corlys is proud to say that he built his house, his very powerful house, from the ground up. No other lords can really say that. The camera pivots, and we can see he's speaking to Daemon. Lord Corlys says they are similar, cut from the same cloth, because they both had to eke out their power. Lord Corlys tells Daemon of his troubles, convincing King Viserys to take action in the Stepstones. And Daemon says being king was never really King Viserys' strong point, which was like, that's funny. Driftmark is greatly at risk of being impoverished should the Stepstones fall to the free cities. So naturally, Lord Corlys forgets himself and gets a little passionate when he's discussing what's at stake. He does let a few loose words slip about Viserys, and Daemon reminds him of his place, that he can talk shit about his brother. He can, but you can't. Okay, Daemon. Okay. Is that another old Valyrian tradition? Corlys just keeps it pushing. He says that Daemon can make a name for himself by taking back the Stepstones by force, in spite of his brother's inaction. The worth of second sons, Lord Corlys says, is not given, it's taken. They have to make it themselves. House of the Dragon episode 2 then closes on a shot of the crab feeder, looking on his work in the Stepstones, that awful carnage. And then it's over. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and thanks again for tuning in to a Mid-B on HoT episode 2. I look forward to seeing what they got in store for us next week, and I will see you then. Bye-bye!